It's January 10th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with the stories making the headlines at this hour, starting with the extreme cold here in the country. A severe cold wave is reaching its peak on Friday, with morning temperatures plunging as low as minus 11 degrees Celsius in the capital Seoul. And temperatures will start to warm up over the weekend. 4 days since the warrant to detain President Yoon was extended, investigators are yet to carry out its execution, while the police have sent an order to mobilize all detectives in the Seoul metropolitan area ahead of a second attempt. The LA wildfires that killed at least 5 people are still burning out of control. They've also forced nearly 180,000 people from their homes. There's more bone-chilling weather here in South Korea. In fact, the bitter cold will hit its peak today. For more, here's our Lee Ji-hyun at the Weather Center.
Intense cold wave conditions continue to grip most parts of Korea. Cold wave alerts have expanded to more regions, with inland regions seeing lows going down to as low as minus 15 degrees. Southern provinces also had lows around minus 10. Seoul had a low a couple of degrees lower than yesterday. Highs will jump higher this afternoon, but winds will make it feel much colder. Meanwhile, heavy snow in Jeollado provinces will make a comeback tonight. West of Jeollado could see up to 8 centimeters of snow. Mountainous regions on Jeju could see up to 20 centimeters. That's all for now, but I'll be back with more at the end of the newscast.
South Korean investigators are really taking their time to decide when to carry out their second attempt to detain President Yoon. We go straight over to our political correspondent Shin Ha-young at the president's residence in Hannam-dong. Ha-young, it looks like there hasn't been any action in terms of the execution of the warrant yet this morning, right?
You're right, Tommy. I'm currently out here near the presidential residence in Hannam-dong Yongsan-gu district in central Seoul. And today marks the 4th day since the arrest warrant for President Yoon was reissued. But there hasn't been any significant movement yet. But with a second attempt to execute the arrest warrant expected soon, the Presidential Security Service has reinforced the residence in vehicle barriers and barbed wire fencing. And the CIO and the police are reportedly working together to finalize their strategy, with the CIO official saying that it is still coordinating with the police on the timing and method of the arrest. And speaking of the timing, the CIO has not revealed the period of validity of the second arrest warrant, but some media outlets suggest it might be longer than the previous 7 days, with some even speculating it could last about 3 weeks until the Lunar New Year holiday Seollal. And according to investigators, the validity period cannot be disclosed. And meanwhile, on Wednesday, the chief of the CIO, Oh Dong-un, told lawmakers during a National Assembly questioning session that there is no law preventing the execution of a valid arrest warrant. And Oh added that blocking the arrest with security protection excuse is not justified, and warned the Presidential Security Service that they could face charges if they interfere with the execution.
And this time, the police are expected to play a bigger role in carrying out the execution, possibly with a significantly larger force. Tell us more about the police's plans.
Right, so the police are also rolling up their sleeves for the second attempt. And the Korean National Police Agency yesterday sent a document to investigation units in the metropolitan area, ordering the mobilization of investigators. And this includes mobile detective divisions and teams handling espionage, anti-corruption cases, and drug investigations. And the plan is to deploy a large team of experienced officers to outnumber the Presidential Security Service. And in the first arrest attempt, around 120 officers were deployed. And this time, the number is expected to reach about 1,000. Meanwhile, according to the police, it officially requested the Presidential Security Service to confirm the identities of 26 agents who allegedly obstructed the CIO's attempt to arrest President Yoon last week.
Well, Hayoung, it's another freezing day today, and I can surely tell you're braving the cold out there. Do you see protesters in the area even in this cold?
Well, Tommy, with temperatures dropping below minus 10 degrees Celsius, there weren't many people out here when we first arrived. And we're still seeing a small crowd, but we can see that it's gradually rising as the time goes. And the remaining crowd is staying warm within their coats and blankets. And President Yoon's supporters are making their voices heard, while anti-Yoon protesters who began an indefinite overnight protest last night are calling for the arrest of President Yoon. And although the crowd is small for now, a larger gathering is expected later in the afternoon of both President Yoon supporters and anti-Yoon protesters when a full-scale rally is scheduled. That's all I have for this hour, but I'll bring more updates in our later newscast. Tommy?
All right, Hayoung, thank you for the coverage. You keep warm. That was our Shin Ha-young reporting live from Yongsan. So it's been 4 days since the investigators' warrant to detain the impeached president was extended. And as we heard from our Shin Ha-young just now, no movement by the CIO was detected as of Friday morning. We are joined by a legal expert, Jung Hwang, this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So it's already Friday morning. Considering the first attempt took place early in the morning, is it safe to say the second attempt will happen this weekend?
It's hard to say. I think CIO has learned its lesson in a quite painful manner in the last Friday when their first attempt to arrest President Yoon failed. So I think they'll take various precautions to make sure that the second time does not end with the same result.
Well, it's hard to tell, like you said, but they are making sure their second attempt goes successfully. How do you think they'll prepare themselves this time? I mean, how will the second time be different from their first try?
A few things that they'll have to do to definitely make sure that it happens. And one, it should really be a surprise. I think the Presidential Security Service had, a lot of advance warning when the CIO started, dispatching their cars from their Hwacheon headquarters. Next time, I think they'll try to make sure that they'll actually come in at an hour that is most inconvenient for the security service, at an hour that is not expected. So I don't expect this to take place today, but they'll probably just sort of, take the temperature of how security service is responding. And they're also worried about protesters. So probably they'll pick an hour where the number of protesters is at the lowest.
Well, I'm sure the person who is at the center of this whole political drama, President Yoon Suk-yeol, is understanding the gravity of the situation. Now, considering that, do you think he will comply this time, even with a comeback of the CIO with a larger force with the police?
Unfortunately not. I mean, the strategy that has been shown by President Yoon himself, his security service and his lawyers has all been fairly consistent. It's been just to stall, delay. I think they're sort of waiting for something to turn around so that their political fortune can be reversed somehow. So at this point, I think they'll do everything in their power to buy more time.
Well, like you say, Yoon's legal team says he will stand trial if his indicted or a formal arrest warrant is issued. This is some sort of a strategy from Yoon's team. Tell us more about the intentions.
Well, I mean, we can actually go, each of the legal arguments they go through, and it would be, somewhat tedious and pointless at the same time. At the same time, what they're saying is different from one day to the other. I think they're very much just kind of responding to whatever is happening at the moment. I mean, their argument was one thing when the arrest warrant was failure last Friday, and then when it looked like the arrest warrant was reissued and the police has renewed its commitment to help out CIO with the arrest, their arguments have changed again. So I don't think I would pay too much attention to the details of their ever-changing legal arguments, but just to do know that their overall strategy is to delay and buy as much time as possible.
Well, some people are questioning that it could have been a simple process, considering that it's possible for the CIO to request a warrant to formally arrest Yoon once a court approves the warrant. Why is CIO not doing that instead?
Well, I mean, again, that's not the argument that President Yoon's lawyers originally made, but that's the argument they're making now.
Right.
I think, again, the couple of issues at hand. One, does CIO actually want to listen to Yoon's lawyers and shaping their legal strategy? I say no. It is the CIO who should take the initiative and do what they want to do. And two, yeah, I mean, if you sort of buy into President Yoon's lawyers' argument first time around, they're going to make secondary, tertiary, and so on, all additional legal arguments by more times. So I think from CIO's point of view, rightly, I think they'll just ignore all the legal arguments that are coming from President Yoon's legal team.
Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. We appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
Now, with less than a week before President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment trial kicks off, there's much debate surrounding the grounds for the impeachment and the pace of these scheduled hearings. Our correspondent Oh Soo-young has the latest.
The Constitutional Court has stressed its impartiality on the impeachment trial for President Yoon Suk-yeol, saying the court is not swayed by battles of public opinion. This came 5 days before Yoon's trial hearing kicks off, as clashes outside the court continue over the legitimacy and speed of the proceedings. During the pre-trial hearings, the National Assembly's impeachment panel retracted insurrection charges from the main grounds for impeachment. This drew criticism from Yoon's legal team and the ruling People Power Party, who argued that insurrection was the core reason cited in the Assembly's impeachment resolution, so removing it defeats the purpose of the trial. Also, the trial would be shortened substantially, meaning an early election would be called, which observers say is likely to favour the opposition party. The court last week denied it had recommended retracting insurrection as an argument to the National Assembly team led by opposition lawmakers. Press officer Chun Jae-yeon says the justices will ensure a fair trial and will review either party's objections to the procedures. Amid complaints by Yoon's team that the trial is moving along too quickly, and that the court unilaterally scheduled 5 trial hearings without consultation, Chun said the pace is not faster than previous cases of impeachment, given that Yoon's first hearing was scheduled 31 days after the case was filed. Former President Roh Moo-hyun's first hearing was held 18 days after, while Park Geun-hye's first hearing came 25 days after filing. Meanwhile, evidence is already coming in. The court revealed it received investigation records from the police, the Defense Ministry's Prosecutor's Office, and the Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office. The National Assembly panel earlier requested the court to secure investigation materials related to the emergency martial law. Opposition lawmakers on Thursday questioned the court Secretary General Kim Jong-un, who said Yoon's martial law proclamation and its ban on political activities, strikes in public assembly, and control over media seems unusual and inconsistent with the current constitution. Kim said he understood such terms were drawn up by the president himself. Once again defending his actions and disputing court proceedings, Yoon's legal team on Thursday said various issues must be resolved to a certain extent before the leader can attend the trial in person. The prosecutor-turned-president would be the first South Korean leader to defend himself at the Constitutional Court. Attorney Yoon Gap-keun said the president's appearance in court has not yet been decided for his first hearing on Tuesday. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
At least 6 people have been confirmed dead as a devastating wildfire sweep through LA County, with officials warning the death toll is expected to rise. On top of that, over 180,000 residents are also under evacuation orders. Kim Jung-se reports.
Wildfires fueled by dry conditions and strong winds are devastating the Los Angeles area. At least 6 people have died and thousands of buildings have been destroyed. Evacuation orders have forced thousands to flee their homes, with the largest blaze, the Palisades fire, burning more than 17,000 acres. The fires that began Tuesday have ravaged areas across Los Angeles, driven by hurricane-force winds. Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna highlighted the scope of the evacuations.
Evacuations overall for Palisades, Eaton, Hearst, and Lydia fires, the number in both county and city areas, that's nearly 180,000 people in Los Angeles County that are currently under evacuation orders, with another close to 200,000 residents that are under evacuation warnings.
Fire Chief Christine Crawley emphasized the sheer devastation caused by the Palisades fire, underscoring its unprecedented impact.
It is safe to say that the Palisades fire is one of the most destructive natural disasters in the history of Los Angeles.
Recognizing the scale of destruction, the U.S. government announced expanded federal support. President Joe Biden announced that the federal government will fully cover disaster response costs for the next 6 months, up from 75%. Reports indicate his son Hunter Biden's Malibu home was destroyed, along with properties owned by celebrities like Paris Hilton, Anthony Hopkins, and Miles Teller. The U.S. government's fifth national climate assessment links the growing intensity and frequency of California wildfires to climate change, citing intensified droughts and increased fuel buildup. Experts warn that without significant action, such disasters will only grow more severe in the years to come. Kim Jung-sil, Arirang News.
Now, with the war in Ukraine approaching the 3-year mark, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy called on the West for troop support. Lee Seung-ja's more.
The near 3-year-old Ukraine war has taken a toll on troops from both sides. With North Korea deploying its troops to Russia, Ukraine is now requesting troop assistance from its Western allies. Speaking at Ramstein U.S. Air Force Base in Germany on Thursday, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said Kyiv's goal is to find as many means as possible to force peace on Russia, adding that deploying troops from ally nations may be the best option. Zelenskyy added that France had proposed the idea last year, calling for more practical efforts to make it possible. Zelenskyy did not specify whether the troops he is requesting are combat troops or peacekeeping forces. Meanwhile, during an interview with a U.S. podcast on Sunday, the Ukrainian president said that 12,000 North Korean troops have been deployed so far to Russia's Kursk region, with nearly 4,000 being killed or injured so far. While it may not be direct troop assistance, the United States continues to provide Ukraine with financial assistance. Washington is set to provide Ukraine with $500 million in additional weapons and equipment from its existing military stockpiles in what will be the final military aid package before President Joe Biden leaves office.
We must not let up, and that's why I'm announcing today another presidential drawdown authority package valued at $500 million. It includes additional missiles for Ukrainian air defense, more ammunition, more air-to-ground munitions, and other equipment to support Ukraine's F-16s.
Meanwhile, more than 12,300 civilians have been killed in the Ukraine war since Russia's invasion in February 2022. According to United Nations Deputy Human Rights Chief Nada al-Nashif on Wednesday, there's also been a notable spike in casualties due to the use of drones, long-range missiles, and glide bombs. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
As the first big annual tech event of the year draws to a close, we take a closer look at what's new and what's hot at CES 2025. We connect with our Moon Hae-ryun over in Las Vegas. Hello there, Hae-ryun.
Hi, Tammy. It's good to hear from you.
So, Hae-ryun, it's day 3 at CES. Let's talk about the Best of Innovation Awards. Which honorees stood out to you this year, and what kinds of innovations are being celebrated at CES 2025?
Right, Tammy. So over the past couple of days, I've been able to see some incredible tech on display. And although CES is obviously about celebrating new tech innovations, when it comes to the CES Innovation Awards, however, I've been seeing some familiar big names on the list. And it's also worth noting that although CES Innovation Awards, the honorees are listed prior to the start of CES, the CTA, so the Consumer Technology Association, they confirm this list as CES kicks off. So LG Electronics made a remarkable showing at CES 2025, securing 3 Best of Innovation awards. So leading the accolades was LG's OLED TV, and this marks the 3rd consecutive year that this product line has earned the Best of Innovation award and an unprecedented 13 consecutive years of CES Innovation Awards. And in the gaming category, the LG UltraGear OLED gaming monitor was a standout as it clinched the Best of Innovation award. The curve of the monitor fits the curved angle of the human eyeball, meaning that there is no distortion of the video on the screen unperceived by our eyes. And another South Korean tech giant, so Samsung Electronics, emerged as a standout at CES 2025, receiving CES Innovation Awards across a range of categories, including video displays, home appliances, and mobile devices. Samsung's dominance in the video display categories continues with 3 Best of Innovation Awards as its 2025 lineup of TVs, monitors, and related services underscored its leadership in cutting-edge display technology, while the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro also claimed a Best of Innovation Award in the mobile category. Sony, as a renowned audio and display powerhouse, was honored with 2 Best of Innovation awards for its flagship theater speakers and its XR head-mounted display and controller. So the display is part of its groundbreaking spatial content creation system that targets creators in entertainment and industrial design by harnessing Sony's imaging sensing display technologies in order to capture real-world elements. It may look like a lot of headsets currently on the market, but it contains a number of elements that enable seamless creation.
As you can see, this head-mount display is a flip up. Can be flip up, so if you want to go back to the display, you don't have to take it out all the time.
Well, Hae-ryun, of course, CES is always known for its big reveals. What are some of the most exciting announcements or new tech we've seen unveiled at this year's edition?
Well, it's just as you've said, Tammy. So CES is a global stage for firms to launch any upcoming new tech. And this year, there were some exciting new reveals from big names in the tech industry. And since we're on the topic of gaming and creation, it would be impossible for us to go without talking about one of the most widely talked about firms this CES, NVIDIA. So during the keynote opening speech, the chip maker and AI darling unveiled its new graphic processing unit chips for gamers, creators, and developers. It aims to give video game graphics that are film standard, enabling game developers to create more realistic human faces and environments all set with realistic imperfections. So part of the GeForce RTX 50 line is due to hit the shelves at the end of the month, with others available starting in February. After the reveal, NVIDIA stocks rocketed to record highs, showing the level of anticipation for these chips on the market. And Samsung SDS launched a new extension of its Pretty Copilot software that utilizes generative AI to provide a service that is capable of recognizing and translating more than 3 languages simultaneously in real time. So during a live demonstration, a Vietnamese employee asked a question in their native language, and moments later the question was translated into Korean. Currently, the Pretty Copilot service supports real-time voice recognition and subtitle translation for 10 languages and text translation for 15. The new updates to come in the following months, showcased at CES, enables the service to support real-time vocal translations, making it the first of its kind in the world. Hyundai Mobis, another South Korean firm, revealed its new holographic windshield display that aims to be in the market by 2028.
Normally, people think in consumer area, transparent display can be made by OLED and micro LED, but in automotive area, the environment is quite different.
So this display is gaining attention because transparent holographic displays in cars face unique challenges: visibility under sunlight, adapting to the curved windshield, and durability in harsh conditions like high humidity, temperatures, and vibrations. And that's all I have for now, but I'll be back in a later newscast with a detailed summary of everything that I've seen today. Back to you, Tammy.
Hae-ryun, thank you so much for that tech-savvy report. That was our Moon Hae-ryun reporting live from Las Vegas. Now, in other news, South Korea's passport is the third most powerful in the world, with the number of countries a Korean passport holder can enter without a visa reaching 192. According to the Henley Passport Index 2025, South Korea is tied with France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Finland, with the third most powerful passport in the world. South Korea's passport ranked third in 2020 and rose to the second most powerful in 2021. Now, Singapore has the most powerful passport in the world with 195 visa-free entries.
Good morning, I'm Yoon, and this is The World Now. We begin with the state funeral for former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. Hundreds of mourners, including 5 current and former U.S. presidents Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and others, gathered at the Washington National Cathedral on Thursday local time to honor his legacy. President Joe Biden, in his eulogy, described Carter as a man of character and faith who was dedicated to serving others and making a difference in the world. Following the state funeral, Carter's casket was transported to his hometown of Plains, Georgia, and a private service was held at the church where Carter was once a Sunday school teacher. He will be laid to rest in the family cemetery near his home beside his wife, Rosalind Carter. President Biden designated the day as a national day of mourning, resulting in the closure of federal offices nationwide. The Polish government announced Thursday that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not face arrest if he attends the Auschwitz-Birkenau liberation commemoration later this month. An arrest warrant for Netanyahu was issued last year by the International Criminal Court over alleged war crimes during the Israel-Hamas war. As an ICC member, Poland is generally required to detain individuals with warrants against them. However, failure to do so does not carry specific penalties. Poland said previously it would enforce the arrest warrant, but President Andrzej Duda described the Auschwitz commemoration as an exceptional circumstance and made a request to ensure Netanyahu could attend without the risk of detention. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has responded to criticism from Elon Musk, saying he's more concerned with the billionaire's comments on German politics and support for the right-wing AfD part ahead of an election in February. Musk called Scholz a fool when Germany's coalition government collapsed in November and later said only AfD can save Germany. Robert Habeck, Vice Chancellor and Minister for Economic Affairs, also issued a warning to Musk, urging the billionaire and close ally of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump to refrain from interfering in German political affairs.
That's all we have for this morning. New Day at Arirang will be back next Monday at the same time, 10 a.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.